Okay, so what I want to go over is set theory functions in Python. So this is understanding that you already know a little bit of Python and that you already know set theory. Um, the uh, unison, intersection, and complements of sets. And what I want to do is just go over how to write functions that that do this for you, do these for you. So the first one we're going to write is the um, unite function. And what this will do is it will take two sets. So let's just write this out. Take two sets and um, apply the unison function to them. So basically, and unite them, right? The second one we're going to write, we're going to call that function the intersect function. And what this is going to do is it's going to take two sets again, and it's going to find what they have in common with each other. Right. So the intersection theory in set notation. And the third one we're going to write is going to be a function called the complement. Can't type. Complement function. And what this is going to do is it's going to take two sets, but one of them is the universal set. So why can I not type today? Take two sets with one as the universal, and it will give basically the everything that the second set is not. Right, so these are going to be the three functions that we write, and I kind of want to go over how to do that. So let me come over here. Alright, so to start with a function, we are going to say def to declare a function, right? To define a function. And this one we'll call unite. And every function has to have a set of parameters. In this case, we're going to have two parameters. We are going to have list A, and we're going to have list B. Those are going to be our two parameters, right? So inside this function, we want to go through the length of the list. So how we do that is a for loop, and basically for every item we have in, let's just say, list B, so what this will do is it'll iterate through every single number we have in that set, in that list. And if that item, so if item not in list A, what we want to, so this is basically saying if every single one of those items as it goes through and checks for that for a singular item, if that item is not in list A in the first list, then what we want to do is list A dot append the item. So pretty simple there. Basically what the dot append function does is it will add that item to list A. So we want to come in line with the for loop again, right here, and we want to end this function because that's all this function is going to do. We're going to return list A because we just added every item that's in list B that was not in list A to list A. So now list A includes everything that has the two lists and does not have duplicates. So let's test this out. Let's say one list equals, let's just say 2, 5, 6, and 4. And let's say two list equals 3, 4, 7, and 2. That's it. And you want to make sure when you're testing this that you do have some duplicates in there. So my duplicates here are 2 and 4, because you want to make sure that in the final result it does not add those in twice. It does not print 2 and 4 twice. So now what we want to do so we can actually see a result is print unite, and then our parameters were one list, two list. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's jump over to our command prompt and try to run this. We get 2, 5, 6, 4, 3, 7. So that works perfectly. You will run into some problems with lists of different sizes in this, but a simple solution to that is putting in an if statement right here that says if list A is bigger than list B, then you're going to use the for item in list A. But if list B is bigger than list A, then you'll do it exactly how we wrote it here. So that is that whole function done. The second function, the intersect function. What we want to start off with here, we're going to do this a little different way, just so I can show you a different way to do almost the same thing that we did in the unite function, because there are always different ways to do the same type of program, right? And one way you might like better, one way you might like a little less. So in this one, we're going to define our function. It will be the intersect function, and we're going to again take two parameters, list A and list B. Now what I'm going to do here that's different from the unite function is I'm going to create an empty list, and from this we can add what we want to that list, and then instead of returning list A like we did here, at the end of this function we'll return list C. So we want to do almost the same thing for item in list A, we'll say this time. We'll say, so again, that's iterating through every single number or every single item in the first list. So now we'll say if item in list B. So up here we said not in list A. Here we're checking if it is in list B, right? If item in list B, because what this function is doing is it's finding the what they have in common with each other, like we said up here in the comment, what they have in common. So if the item is in both lists, basically, we are going to append, right, to list C. We're going to append that item, and then we'll come back in line with this for loop, and we will return list C. So let's test this out again. Let's bring back our one list, should have copied and pasted this, but I did not. I think I had 2, 5, 6, 4 in the first one, and toList will equal 3, 4, 7, 2. Right? We're going to print intersect. Yeah. Don't mess up your capitalization. That's very important in all programming languages, really. So, one list, two list. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's jump over to our command prompt. And we get 2 and 4 that we can look here and see our two lists, or two sets really, and see that 2 and 4 are the only ones they have in common. So that function worked perfectly. So now let's move on to the very last one, the complement function. Now this takes two sets with one as the universal, and it gives everything that the second set is not. So on paper this is usually written with a subscript C as the complement to a set. So that's understanding that we will have a universal, and we'll just call it universal list here, and we're going to have it equal to 1 through 10. So right. So that's our universal list. This is everything that exists in this little universe. Okay. And then we are still going to have our other list. We'll call it list A. Actually, this is outside of the function, so we'll stick with the theme of one list. Why not? And let's just make this equal to 2, 4, 6, 8. Right. So we should get. Oh, let's say 10 as well. So we should get, when we print this out, we should get all of the odd numbers, right? Universal list and one list. Right. So let's define our function again. This one is called complement. We've got our two parameters, or arguments, they're also called. We're going to have universal list and actually inside the function we'll just call it the universe, and then we'll have our list A. So inside this function we're going to do the same thing we did in the intersect function. We're going to make a new list, an empty list, and after that we are going to iterate for every item in the universe. So for every item in basically this list right here that we just created. So for item in universe, we are going to see if that item is not in list A, kind of like we did up here. So if item not in list A, we are going to append it to our new empty set, our new empty list. So list C dot append, right? Item. And all we want to do is return list C. So basically what we did is basically the same thing as we did in the unite function, except we saw um, if anything in the universe was not in list A, you appended that item, because we want everything except for list A, except for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So let's see if this works. Let's come over here to our command prompt. 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So that should be it. Those are the 3 set theory functions that I wanted to go over today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Leave a like if you did. Thanks.